Shall we start now?
Yeah, just give us a minute. Let me just, few people are coming in, they're slowly joining in. Okay. Uh, Professor Shankdeep will also be joining in very soon. So let us start. Hello, sir. Professor Saragopan is also on the call, right? So we have all the participants here. Uh, any one of you who has any questions for the participants, please write to either me or Manisha. Right, Manisha is on the call. You can see that. You can write. You can direct any of your questions to her. Okay.
So Dharini, let's maybe stick 20 to 25 minutes for the presentation. And if there are any questions from the audience, we can also take that in the
Sir?
last 5 to 7 minutes. I hope that is fine.
Just yes.
Sure.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I think now we have all the participants in the call, right? Good. Good morning, everyone. Professor Shankdeep? Yeah.
Okay, got it. There was a problem in unmuting it. Yeah. Okay. So yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Right. I guess can start. Yes, okay. Okay, so this is the fourth SPM summit, and this is the second time we are doing an academic track in this summit. So this did not used to happen earlier, but we thought, in product management itself is a nascent field in terms of research and academia as well, right? And there should be something. There are very few conferences which are specific only to product management, focusing on digital products and platforms and things like that. So this is a good opportunity for researchers and academicians to come and sort of share their studies and research. So last time it was the first time, so we were more open towards many research papers, and this time we were more focused on quality, right? And so I'm hoping to see some good presentations out here today. What we'll do is we'll take all the four presentations one by one. So I know that in the event schedule there's a coffee break schedule, but consider that more as a buffer time, right? So what we'll do is we'll take 15-minute sessions one by one, and you can use like 10-12 minutes for your actual presentation, and followed by some question answer time for 2-3 minutes. Okay, so if you are ready, we'll start with our first presentation, which is by Meenakshi.
Yes, sir.
Which is on understanding healthcare digital platform using affordance theory.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so welcome Meenakshi. Let's start. The stage
Yes,
is all yours.
yeah. Thank you, sir. So I'll start with my presentation here. Hope my presentation is visible and I'm audible too.
Yes, yes, you are.
Good morning, everyone, all the audience and teaching faculty and people around there. So I'm happy to be a participant here. And today I'll be presenting my work about understanding the healthcare digital platform, that is UHI, using an affordance theory. So my main motivation to work on this particular topic is I always believe that, equality and justice are to be something that's common to be given everybody in a social aspect. So that's what Dr. Martin Luther King also has presented in his committee meeting So 1966, though it is quite an old statement by him, I find it to be still very valid till date. And so that's the main motive for me to drive study this. And then why this is important and why this has to be studied is that though we are moving forward with more of digital technologies, we still find there is a disparity in among people in getting the needed healthcare equally, or healthcare opportunities equally. So and then this has also been stated by UN in their Sustainable Development Goals report in 2020, where they say in 2017 only one third of the population, global population, was covered with the essential health services, so which leaves the remaining two-thirds with no other opportunity left to use the health services. So if this continues, only 39% of the global population will be covered with the essential services by 2030. So this makes it a priority for the UN to say that 2020 to 2030 is a need of action to achieve the 17 sustainable development goals, among which the healthcare was mentioned as a third priority after poverty and welfare activities. So the same has been stated and said, like, stated as a priority, global priority, by the Kim and Orji in their own papers, where they talk about the social welfare and the policy trends that have to be followed for an equal health benefits to be given to the general public. And we are apart from the literature, we also know that with the advent of COVID, we could see how there was a need for the healthcare to be given, and then suddenly we were unprepared for the pandemic, because of which we could face a lot of hurdles in the phase one, right? So the motivation from the literature where I get it is like in the paper by Mr. Kohli in 2016, where he starts his introduction about the electronic health records, the importance of maintaining a longitudinal health records. When there is an emergency, if there is a health record available for the team of doctors who are attending them, they would know what is the background and what are the allergies that a patient has. They would have on fingertips, and that would enable them to give a better medicine and better care to this proper patient, and thereby give him more chance of survivability. But though the electronic health records are not something new, it's been ages it's been introduced but still not very prevalently adopted. And also, like, for this all system, it's not only the patients or the doctors or the system, but even the individual citizens who are participating or who are a part of the ecological system also are a part of the system and responsible for it. That's what Mr. Dwivedi tells in his paper, that citizens are considered to be a part of the system, and they expect and they have some expectations from the implemented healthcare systems. So, as of now, here the implemented healthcare system that which we are talking about is a unified health service platform, and then we will get to it. What about it is so these things, and then and then as I already spoke of, the pandemic has also given me a motivation why that we are lacking to have the needed focus to observe, and then though we have technology in our hand, and then though we have the needed literacy, and but why are we lacking, and where are we you know having that backdrop of not being able to implement it. I'm sorry. This is my motivation for the study. And then moving forward, so when we are talking about the UHI, so this is something that's very specific to the Indian community here, and this is an platform that's been ecosystem, basically an ecosystem that has been implemented by Government of India. And so it is not a one day night or a one night battle that has come up. So this has been under the planning and planning and objective to implement since 2017. So for the first time under the National Health Policy in 2017, with the aim to provide better health using digital technologies, being as giving a citizen central system and with a better quality and access towards the healthcare and have a universal health coverage. The government has introduced a policy in 2017, and then how to implement it, what are the strategies and approaches to be followed, have been developed in as a part of Niti Aayog in 2018. And the blueprint for the needed ecosystem has developed in 2019 as a part of National Digital Health Mission, where they say this is not just a system, but they are trying to come up with the ecosystem that is a platform that they call here. And so they talk about what are the building principles and the building blocks and the applications and services that they aim to provide as a part of the system. And government, as a part of the NDHM under Ayushman Bharat digital ABDM, they have launched a pilot phase in 2020 in the 6 union territories. And in 2021, they have made it open for public to register, not only as a participant, end user applicant, and health service provider, as well as a technology service provider. And though it has been introduced in 2021, launched available for all, but the practicality and use is still not yet applicable still there. So recently in the news, it's been stated that as a by the health minister and ISMAI in January, on January 11th, that in this coming week there is a high chance and they are trying to push it and make it accessible to everyone. So that is the update. So what this UHI platform is typically doing is like, it's a open protocol platform which is envisioned to conduct various digital health services in India. So they want to bring all the sorts of health services and everybody onto one platform where the end user and the service provider and the technology service provider can interact and then get the services needed. So why this is important, or what is the objective of UHI is like, the UHI is to provide a fair discoverability of HSPs, so that not only the corporate or a bigger hospitals have that visibility, but all the hospitals that register have the visibility toward for the end users. And thereby what is that is achieved is like, because everything that is there is done online, and then under a particular rules and regulations, there is a high chance for the transparency and the financial settlements. And the grievance collection is also an important process. And if the services are not good, the end user always has a right to give a feedback on the post service fulfillment, based on which the healthcare provider is rated and considered or warned later. So this is about the UHI. So existing literature, here I cover about how affordances have been defined. So because I have taken the affordances as a theory to understand the UHI, because I felt it to be a more relevant one from the point of, from my understanding from the literature. And here I make use of the critical realist point of view as in my epistemological stance. And because we are in an understanding phase, and we are trying to build up a conceptual framework on how these affordances are actually getting actualized, this is a better framework for me to understand it. So affordances have been defined by many authors, and then the prominent ones are these. So where they talk about, if we see the Strong et al.'s 2014 paper, where he mentions the potential for behavior associated with achieving an immediate concrete outcome and raising from the relation between an artifact and a goal oriented actor. So it is not simply the presence of the actor being there and the technology being there, and thereby how an actor is making an affordance, but it also about how the user is able to effort to understand what that digital artifact is trying to tell me, or what the digital artifact can be used for. So, and then they are in the literature also about how to use this theory has been mentioned, where the another key seminal paper was by Strong et al. In 2016, where he mentions about the six principles and three unresolved issues that are there, and the two caveats, where the two caveats talk about why one needs to use a critical realist stance, and what is the necessary for that. So this is from the literature. So if we see slowly, we are as we move in the years of study, we observe that there is something called as digital affordance. So where the digital affordance is being spoken of is, it's about how when an artifact is a digital artifact. Till now, in the old seminal papers, it is observed that an artifact is a physical artifact, where people can make sense of how to move a cursor or how to make use of an Excel sheet. But when the artifact itself is totally digital, how do one make affordances? So in this paper by Austin, they mention about the meta characteristics of the artifact. So, as I told Priya, so I am trying to understand, and so that I avoid the adverse situations in the real time that may occur because of the lack of knowledge, and it being a new implementation, there is a necessity for a conceptual framework to understand it, and I take the reference from the Eisenhardt. KM 1989, for building a conceptual framework, as it supports my things, like, one needs to build up a conceptual framework to understand the variables in the theory building process. And what I do as a part of my paper is, I create a conceptual framework, come up with the propositions, and then I also analyze three stakeholders point of view here, one being the end user, that is typically the patient who is getting enrolled, and then the hospital service provider and the technology service provider. And then I have also analyzed what are the probable roadblocks and the incentives and the disincentives of joining the UHI for them, and so that we can come up with where we are lagging exactly in adopting a better healthcare ecosystem. So this is what it is. So here there is a digital platform where the patients interact with it, hospitals and the laboratories and the technology service providers interact, and come up with a better ecosystem, expected to come up with a better ecosystem. And this is my conceptual model. If we see, this conceptual model covers the stages of the affordances theory, where it talks about first about the possessed affordance, and then the perceived affordance, and then the actualized affordances, and in return, where because of which they find an impact, and thereby an event actualization happens. So if we see, my propositions are placed in each stage, where my propositions 1, 2, and 3 talk about the short-term affordances, but the remaining 4, 5, 6, and 7 talk about the long-term effects. So typically, to give an example of here, suppose if there is an end user who wants to register himself under UHI and get that UHI 14-digit number, he has to possess the affordance of where to go, and then what to do what to do, so that he get the actualized affordance of getting that number. And once he gets the number, he should be able to understand on getting the number what is that he can get, what are the facilities he can get, so that he can understand the impact. And because if it is a group here, it's a collocated affordances, we are saying it as an organizational impact. And once this impact is prevalent, there will be a high chance for more event actualization to happen. Okay. So these are few of the discussions and findings that I came up here. So here, when we are saying end user, it is typically the patient or the individual. So what he aims to do using EHI is what aimed affordances is talking about. So here he can typically use for availing services, or he can use for sorry, he can use it for uploading his clinical records, and then he can use them to share it with the other doctors, and things like that. That's what is the aimed affordance here. So by that, what is the contribution he is giving to the platform is that data. So we have so much of data that is anonymous to be there, so that we can have a better analytics and a better planning in place, and that's a contribution towards a platform. So what is the incentive that is given to the end user because of the participation is like, he'll get equal access to the consulting towards a doctor of his choice. There is no reservation that you cannot get into particular consultation. It's just like open platform where he can choose the availability of the doctor and get it. And he can digitally share his medical documents also, and transparency is related to the prices charged is also well ahead informed. So what are the incentives is like, the physical emotional touch that is a part of a physical examination would no longer be there. And so no prescribed plan in place for the recovery of the old medical records, whichever are not there. So you can't get them. So only from the date records are available, only based on that the judgment about by the medical consultation has to happen. And there might be a chance that the error is there in handling the health records entry, but it is not verified either by the user nor by the consultant, because no one is aware of that the error has happened over there. So this is with regards to the end user. And when we are talking about the health service provider, the actors involved are the doctors of any system, that is homeopathy, allopathy, and any Unani, any sort of a medicine, the hospitals, labs, pharmacies, and health service aggregators. When we call them health service aggregators, these are the platform players that are partner with various health organizations. So basically, insurance agents and these people also come under the health service providers. And home care providers such as nursing care, teleconsultations, and sample collection services. These all people also have to register themselves under the health service provider. So what is the aimed affordance by them is like to provide the service digitally, and so that they to control the price, service availability, and service delivery using the EHI compatible, that is like they can provide their own service at their own comfort. They need not adhere to any particular organization if they are registering themselves as an individual. But if they are registering under, there is a consequence over here also. If they are registering under as an individual as well as a part of an hospital, that's a drawback. There might be a confusion that the end user might end up registering under one person, where expecting to be registered by under the another hospital. So that,
Meenakshi, you need to wrap it up
yes,
fast.
sir, I'm almost done. So these are with the health. So I'll not talk much about the contributions to the platform, but I'll highlight more about the disincentives here. So when the health service providers are part of UHI, the probable disincentives that they may get is they're not reachable unless the patient is digitalized. So digital illiteracy or the digital divide, if it is persistence, that is a drawback here. And it may impact individual stress level with the workload as a hybrid model. It's like there is no boundary for the work line, like 9 to 5 or something like that. So there is a high probability that there is a lot of stress on the medicals available over there, and documentation is also a problem. So regarding to the technology service providers, the drawback that is there is being an open platform, there is a drawback that your code is not secure enough. And then there will also be a lack of knowledge about the customer behavior and the customer base, because you don't interact with the customer directly, but you just evaluate them digitally. So my conclusions from the paper were about these possible challenges that are faced during the implementation. And I have listed the expected disadvantages and roadblocks that need attention by the IS researchers. And I came up with a conceptual model for better affordance actualization cycle using the affordance theory. And as a part of the future direction, I suggested that these have to be handled using multiple theories, and also understand the task fit and theory as a main priority, so that we understand different perspectives from different lenses and come up with a unified solution for the problems that which we face. That's all, sir.
Thank you very much, Meenakshi. Wonderful presentation, and especially in a new and upcoming field, right? So something which is going to be, big in future, the UHI platform. So thanks for that. And I am now opening it for questions. So any other participants, if they have any questions for Meenakshi?
I'll stop the sharing in the meanwhile, sir.
Just keep it on hold
Yeah,
in case
okay.
any question requires you to go back. So anybody has any questions for this paper? Okay, then I have one quick question. So, what is your plan, or is there any plan for any follow-up study with some empirical research on this? And if
Yes,
that
yes.
is possible, even like if there is a data available, to convert your propositions into hypothesis and actually test it out.
Sir, actually, this base paper, I had an idea about how to go empirically. So for that, what I found is there are few, the government has given an open platform where, many multiple NGOs and the healthcare service providers can come up with their suggestions on this UHI and what their opinion means to them. So those are available online for us. So there, I have gone through them, and they are in hundreds typically. So with that limited time frame, I haven't gone through most of them, but whatever was whatever top things that I could find, I picked them up. So that is there as a backup work for me, where I can say, support my propositions and come up, say, this was also stated by. So it's basically a qualitative support than a quantitative support that I may get there.
Yes,
So
fair enough.
apart from the qualitative support for a quantitative data, still the work, because it's not real time yet vigorously implemented, getting the data is a problematic
Is
thing.
there any like similar implementation done in other countries? From where you can sort of gain some
Yes, sir, there
insights.
are there are multiple health ecosystems that are available in advanced, already developed countries, but I should have a better view of that. Their system is quite different from ours, so it is they involve more actions actually. We are in a very nascent stage, so they involve more actions about everything and anything, including from vaccination to consultation to insurance. All of them are included as a part of their ecosystem. But for us, we are in a very nascent stage of testing. So we can still refer to that. I'll take that as a suggestion and try to work in a comparative study over there.
Sure, sure. Like another suggestion would be like, because if you want to target to take it up to good journals, then some kind of theory development which is more uh, sort of more generic, not just in terms of Indian uh, this healthcare ecosystem, but something that can encompass general this kind of healthcare platform as well, right? So in that you can show how the how Indian system fits in, right? So that could be one, right? So that is sort of better received by journals, if the theory is more generic. So okay, so thank you very much, Meenakshi. So without further ado, we can move to the next presentation by Srumita on gig economy and digital platforms, a dynamic capability perspective. Okay. So go ahead, Sumita. Welcome.
Yeah, hi sir. I'll just share. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, yes.
Hello everyone. Good morning. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So my topic is around gig economy and digital platforms, and the lens that I've used to understand this particular phenomena is a dynamic capability perspective. So this is the content that I would be following. Exactly, like I'll start with the introduction and what exactly is this study about, followed by the research questions, the motivation and the gap, briefly on the methodology, and then what are the outcomes for the research questions and the contributions, followed by the limitations, and a little bit on discussion of what is happening in India related to product around gig economy. So a brief introduction is, as you can see, there are three prime area of conversation, which is like economy, digital platform organization. When I say digital platform organization, these organizations primarily depend on using the digital platform to run their business. And the lens that I've used is dynamic capability. So in a very brief, the aim of my study is to see the intersection of these three areas. So what exactly is this study about? So the objective of my study is to first understand the two sides of the gig economy. Why I say two sides of the gig economy is because we're going to look at the positives of when gig economy is, surfacing or becoming popular, and what are the negatives of it. So, and then using the dynamic capabilities lens, we'll analyze how this digital platform organizations have actually leveraged the gig economy for their business or for their benefit. The theoretical analysis and review is the methodology that I've followed. So what I've done is I've applied the literature review. So I've actually done a literature review of gig economy, and then followed by analysis of the secondary data, primarily on two platforms, digital platforms, which is Upwork and Uber, using dynamic capabilities. This will look into more detail. The scope of literature here is, I have used the different theoretical lenses that has been used in literature to understand gig economy. So primarily I've picked only those literature where they have used specific lenses or perspectives. These are studies which have been covered in books or academic and practitioner journals. And the databases that I've used is Web of Science, EBSCO, and Google Scholar. So the broad question that I'm trying to understand is through these two questions is how the gig economy add value to the digital platform organizations. And second is why gig economy is going to stay there, right? So the motivation and the gap, what I found is, so motivation came from like there are different perspectives that I've used to understand what exactly is gig economy, how it is working, how it is actually becoming popular. But what happens is that people, I would say scholars, they give their sides of what is positive about a particular phenomena and what is negative about a particular phenomena, but there is not a collated collated understanding of what are the two sides of the same coin. So that is what my prime motive here. So I aim to synthesize all these studies, both from the academic and practitioner journals, and identify exactly what are the common positives and negatives of the gig economy that has been presented in the literature. Secondly, as a gap, I would say, so digital platform organizations actually leverage the gig economy, but research has not yet used the dynamic capability to understand how they have done it. And in my study, I've used Upwork and Uber as an example to understand how they are actually, using gig economy to run their business and be profitable. So this is a particular methodology, I would say. I've just tried to put it in more of a picture format rather than putting in words. So first, what I've done is I've understood what are the two sides of the coin, that is the positives and negatives of the economy. Then I've used a dynamic capability. As we know, dynamic capability primarily as it is defined by Eisenhardt and Martin 2000 paper, that these are organizational and strategic routines through which organizations achieve new configurations of resources, and especially in a very changing, volatile market. So that is the perspective that I have picked up, and also it is considered as one of the very dominant lens in strategy area. So my area is human resources, but since I've studied this, this really intrigued me, and this is a particular lens in strategy area used to understand and interpret the strategic positioning of organization, especially when the market is very turbulent. And I have used Upwork and Uber, because the secondary data available was easy. And I would say easy because I couldn't do interviews for my particular study. So the data available for Upwork and Uber is easily available on internet. So that was the motive of why I have chosen these particular two particular companies. So coming to the first, where I am looking at the positives and the negatives. So the positives that we see in the gig economy is primarily, as we all know, also that flexibility. So this is one of the most lucrative feature of the gig economy, where you can access or you can work from anywhere, anytime, and also you can work on multiple projects. So that is the flexibility that comes with working as a gig economy, part of the gig economy. Reduced transaction costs because again. A lot of time what happens, organizations, when they go for permanent employees, the hiring cost is pretty high. But when you go for someone who's ready to work on more of a contract basis, which is also easily accessible through gig economy, gig workers, I would say. So that way it reduces the transaction cost of the organization. Autonomy and freedom, as we see that one of the popularity of gig economy is because it gives you a lot of autonomy and the freedom. I would say mostly to the gig workers who do not want to attach or associate themselves with one particular organization, but would like to work on different projects as per their interest and their passion. Fourth is the alternate source of income. So this is actually so gig economy actually came up from in history from different gigs that musicians does. And through that, they do multiple kind of, performances. So that way, they have an alternate source of income. So, say in the morning, they are working as a software engineer, and in the evening, they are, singing or playing or being a part of some band, and that becomes an alternate source of income for them, right? If we look at the negatives, so what happens in platform kind of organization is that since we are not associated to any organization as such, we do not have a particular performance management system. So your work, the gig workers work quality depends on the feedback and the rating that they receive from the particular employer who employed them. So which is very opaque, it's not very transparent. So that way, this is one of the negatives. Insecurity and precariousness. So there is a lot of conversation in gig economy area where it is said that when you are not associated with a particular organization, there is always an insecurity that whether you are going to get job next time, or whether you are going to stay as popular as you are now, because there is a lot of competition in gig economy also. So that way there is an insecurity and precariousness that crops up among the gig workers. Surveillance, particularly because we are using digital means to get connected and get the work done. So that way, a lot of the data of gig workers as well as sometimes of the organization is very easily available, and that can become a problem of security. Blurred boundaries, again, like I said, there is a flexibility of when you want to work, where do you want to work, and how you want to work. But then again, those who are having families, or say people who like to work like 24/7, there are people who do not have much of social life. So there is a blurred boundary between what is your personal life and what is your work life. So that way, this is another negative point. Low competency development, we are saying, because again, since gig workers are not associated in a particular organization, any organization would not spend time, giving training or kind of personal development to a gig worker. So there, the gig worker has to motivate himself or herself to ensure that their competency level is at par with the industry, or say new technologies that are coming up. They should be learning it. Right. So these are a few of the positives and negatives, I would say, that has come out of the study, the literature review that I have done. Next, the second question, where we are saying that how the platform organizations are leveraging the gig economy. So if we look at the Upwork, what Upwork does is, so their prime source is the gig workers, right? What they do is like, so Upwork uses a matchmaking algorithms where they ensure that whoever is the gig worker who have signed up with Upwork is matched with the particular potential client, or the client who are signed up with Upwork. They will match up with a particular gig worker, the kind of profile that they want. So that's the matching algorithm which is developed by Upwork, and through this, they try to ensure that the gig workers will get the kind of work they want, and the organization will get the kind of profile they want as a contract worker, right? The rating and feedback systems. So Upwork has a very strict rating and feedback systems. Depending on these kind of rating and feedback systems, they ensure that those who have a good rating will be recommended first to the clients, right? So maintaining the website of Upwork is the only main cost that they incur. So that way, there is a lot of costs that they have reduced on themselves, on the organization. So again, Upwork, how they ensure that they stay in the market is the kind of feedback that they receive from the gig workers and the organizations. So that is one way they ensure that their competitive advantage is maintained, because they ensure that the positive feedbacks gets populated in their website. And also Upwork is into a constant innovation to create this comprehensive digital work marketplace. So Upwork was actually one of the first organization officially to create a platform where both the clients as well as clients, the gig workers, they come and meet each other virtually and understand what kind of market requirements are there from both sides. So that way they are into innovation, constantly into innovation to create this comprehensive digital platform. Now, if we look at Uber is a little different than Upwork, because Upwork is more of a platform, but Uber here actually provides a particular application where it ensures that so what Uber does is like, so the digital infrastructure, they provide a digital infrastructure of independent and often we would say that individualized service providers. So when we say service providers, that can be either the people who own the car and the drivers, or the drivers themselves, and the consumers like us who want to use the services of instant cab booking. So that way they provide us that particular digital application. So second is Uber, as we know, they do not take the responsibility or the accountability of anything related to the license of the driver, or the insurance of the car, or any of the vehicle inspections, any kind of background checks of drivers. Now it has come into picture after a few incidences. But then in general, Uber did not start their business with that. But now they have started to come, because the government has started intervening into these security measures. Also, Uber does not have any minimum wage or overtime regulation. So it is completely on the drivers, whether they want to drive for long hours continuously, or how do they want to work. So also Uber, they very beautifully classify themselves as entrepreneurs, the drivers. So what they do is like, they brand themselves as an organization who are doing social good for opening entrepreneurship avenues, especially for people who are looking for alternate source of income, or the drivers who want more of a flexibility and autonomy in their work. And they are also into constant innovation, where they are looking into so we can see that Uber cars have advertisement on them. Also they are looking into coming up with more sustainable cars, which does not emit CO2 emission, which emits less CO2 emission, or maybe completely green cars. Also they are looking into in future about futuristic travel options. So these are few in the cards of Uber. Now, lastly, why I say that gig economy is going to stay is primarily because of these three factors, I would say. Availability of the gig workers. There are a set of people who really want to work, even if there is a insecurity and precariousness. There are people who love their autonomy, who want to work on the passion. the work they have for. And the intermediaries are these Upwork, the digital platforms, the Uber. So there are organizations who try to look for opportunities, where they can create an opportunity and create a business out of that. And lastly, of course, the consumer or the clients. So now the organizations also are shifting into a lot of contract kind of, getting people on contract rather than having more of a permanent jobs. As well as we can also see, because of the pandemic, that there is a lot of work from home phenomena is going on, and that way it's easy for the clients or the consumers. So I believe there is one organization which is called FlexiBees, that's from the IIM Bangalore alumni, run by specifically for the females. So they have actually utilized this kind of platform to ensure that, when everybody is anyway work from home, why not, gather all the females who can digitally be connected and can, create a particular organization which provides women, I would say, employee workers to the organizations who are looking for, on a project basis, but not as a permanent employee. So contribution wise, I would say this is at a very nascent stage, my study. So this study presents a very consolidative overview of the positives and the negatives, like I said, studied from a different perspective. And by using the example of Upwork and Uber, I've tried to understand through a dynamic capability perspective that how actually these organizations are leveraging using the gig economy for the benefits of the organization as the gig workers, as well as for themselves. Also, the study contributes towards practice literature for highlighting few of the opportunities that are there, like can be created and seized by the digital platform organizations through the gig economy. So, for example, there is one more organization like, Infosys, right? So, Infosys and Edeco. Edeco is one of the biggest like hiring organization based out of Europe, Switzerland. So, they have come up together and they have introduced ADIA. So ADIA is one of the, I would say, application or platform-based application which can be used for hiring temp workers. So this is one phenomena which started in 2016. So discussions and future research, I would say, so on one side, we can see that there's a high autonomy that is brought by, gig economy. And but on the other side, it also takes a lot of toll on the health and the physical, mental health. And this kind of somewhere intersect with the sustainability that we are talking about at the moment, and the I would say the sustainable careers that we are talking about. So here I see an opportunity where, using the paradox theory, this particular phenomena can be studied very beautifully, and there are a lot of questions that we can explore and analyze empirically. At this moment, I would say a conceptual framework of gig economy, where we can see the antecedents and the outcomes. That discussion needs to go more healthy. So this is one area where I'm working on at the moment. Also, as the technology is advancing and different individual aspirations of humans, organizations can actually look into how to harness that particular area, like the potential of gig economy, and create value, not just for the business, like for everyone else. Since we are talking a lot about sustainability at the moment. Limitations, like I said, I have collected a secondary data, but this work can have a lot of more insights if we go for a primary source of data, which can be collected through semi-structured interviews. These are some of the references. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Sumita. Yeah. So it's a very interesting study, and I like the way you have clearly, outlined and collected and collated all the positives and negatives of the gig economies. Right. So we always talk about this gig economy, but it is not usually. It's not easy to see all those points in one place. So good. So yeah, any questions from anyone? Please go ahead.
Or any suggestions would also help. I mean, like something that can, help me to do this study better.
Shrumita, what do you think if you extend this to any other platform any other platform, digital platform like Uber, would your findings hold good? Have you tried to see if the findings stand across other digital platforms? Like Upwork, and these are the two from where you've drawn, but how about other platforms?
Yes, Professor. I was thinking of, so like I said, so one thing I did not cover in my presentation is that, so there are two type of platform organization I could understand reading the literature. One is which provides the particular platform to integrate both organizations and the gig workers, and one platform is which is open for all, like for us also. We are not organization, we are not gig workers, we are just the consumers, right? So that way we can also see Airbnb is also that comes under this. So there are different organizations, but these are two prime way of running businesses when we talk about gig economy. So I'm trying to see if there is any particular common link, but for that I would say yes, secondary data is always available, but primary data would really help, and that is where I'm trying to see, because there are a lot of organizations which are now trying to utilize this gig workers, I would say. So I'm trying to identify few of the organizations if they would be ready to take out time and give me some data for that, which is very difficult in a virtual world. So yeah.
All the best. All the best.
Thank you.
Yes. Anyone, any other questions for Sumita? Okay, one thing is that are you going to come up with some kind of framework for using this dynamic capability? So something that will hold true for not just your generic, and not just like within gig economy also there are different kinds of models, right? So it's we talk about it as if it's one thing, but there are so many different models in the gig economy, right? So is there anything that some kind of framework that you will come out with?
Yes, I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to take out time. My comprehensive exams are going on, so I'm trying to see if I can, come with a framework, because that kind of study really helps, because there are multiple studies in the past where they have first come up with the framework, and then using that framework, they have tried to see how the organizations have actually, are doing business. Because there is one paper which actually inspired me to write this one. I forgot which year it was. There they developed a framework, and then using that framework, they're trying to understand three kind of industries, how this framework can be understood through those three industries, and how it is a generic which we can apply throughout. So that is on the cards. Yes, I'm working on towards that. Yes.
Yeah. Also another thing, so you mentioned that you are from the HR area, right?
So, from human resources.
Yeah, so you are pivoting towards a strategy area, I guess. For
strategy, actually, strategy subjects really excites me. I mean, it's very interesting. And apart from that, I'm primarily interested into technology and HR. So that way you can see that there's a lot of intersections where I fall. But I love my HRM, so I would stick to that. But then I'll try to contribute towards the other area.
Yeah, so the one advice could be like from so because you have that stream of knowledge to gain from. So what you can do is bring in some HR lens as well, theoretical lens as well, right? Because you are studying gig workers and all that. So maybe use both strategic as well as HR lens and create some kind of interdisciplinary kind of paper out of it, right? So the perspectives combining both HR and strategy would help, right? So that would be one. Yeah. Okay, so wonderful presentation, Sumita. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now we will move on to our next presentation by Nagappan and Dr. Panchanatham and Dr. Adigal. Marketing strategies through mobile app adoption. And
yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Good morning. I'll share my screen, sir.
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Sir, you are able to see my screen, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Nagappan, I see you have a lot of slides, so it will be great
Yes,
if
sir.
you go move quickly through
Yes,
that.
sir. Sorry. Okay, sir. Sir, I would like to present our work. This is basically, we are also, it is a working paper. Actually, this is the current, the paper title is the marketing strategies through mobile app adaptation and its impact on the digital consumer behavior. So I'm basically a research scholar from Annamalai University, Tamil Nadu. So I just wanted to give the purpose behind our work actually, because that will give some hint on the interest to the participants here. So there are basically now what happens, the background is there are two ways are there, organizations as well as for the consumers. So in the early days, what happened for the business, they have to be in to grow for a business to be in the profit side, they take a long years, like in the industry, particular industry like energy industry or automobile industry or retail industry, they go systematically, they take 10 years or 15 years to reach a profit level. So now there is a bigger concept is coming up, like organization due to the digital platform is there is something called super app is now whichever organizations, whichever the digital IT or whichever organizations, irrespective of organizations, they are moving towards a super app development platform. So the basic the advantage of this is there is no infrastructure required for the organizations required. Second is from the consumer perspective also, they are very well connected because of the digital platform availability. And also the third advantage from the business side is they can move 1x times, 2x times, 3x times. So they can grow with, like earlier days they take 10 years to reach a position X. Now within 1 or 2 years they can multiply their business profits and grow. So this is a motivation behind our research work. So now in India, like example in US, if you see, Amazon has already done it. They are like, if you see, they are like they are controlling the whole supply chain. They are being a publisher, mobile book publisher. They are controlling the OTT platform, like an example. So with this context, I just wanted to start our paper. So this is basically a work in progress paper. So we already, so just I want to share some of my viewpoints in these conferences. Okay. So sir, this is so what happened. The consumers, if you see in any market, consumers are the driving factors for any business organization. This is what an organization's topmost priority is to understand the behaviors. So earlier it was not predominant. Earlier it was more of
Mr.
offline.
Nagappan, one quick request. Can you please make the PPT in the presentation mode? And some of them are not able to view the screen. So
Okay.
just let me just see.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I hope now everyone's able to see what's being presented.
Okay, Professor. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so in any industry or anywhere, so consumers are the drivers. Okay, even for humans, drivers. So the organizations, the topmost priority is to understand the behavior of the customers. So in the COVID-19 pandemic, yeah, it was a challenge for everybody. So there was a lot of restrictions by the government for the mobility of the people. So the organizations were were finding difficulty to reach to the consumers. So there, one of the reasons was from the marketing approach was they are coming up with a mobile app. Like for each and everything these days, there is a mobile app is there. But what our viewpoint is, yes, what is a unique in this novelty we are trying to bring is, we wanted to bring a platform where like a super app, where all the organization, retail, energy, whichever, all the things are clubbed together, and how consumers are responding to it. That is our research work is. And the industry also now it is all the organizations now in India also are trying to develop the super app, develop it to attract more consumers. So the solution, what we are, the solution is that from the organization perspective is they are coming up with a branded mobile app. So it's called super app in the industry terminology. It is called super app. So it is like a marketing platform where they are able to connect with the consumers on a real basis. So this COVID-19 is a disguise, blessing in disguise for the organizations to move from offline to online. So that is now you can see predominantly it is happening. That is what we are saying. Almost all brands are developing the branded mobile app to connect with the consumers effectively. And also now, because earlier times, if you see, there was more of a desktop and was there. Now because of the affordable smartphones, everything is now banking like UPI payments, Google Pay, everything has now come easily. So this is what is there. So we, in this paper, I just wanted to tell only key points actually. Is what are the factors which is influencing the consumers to adopt in this kind towards the mobile app, and also whether this behavior is whether it is permanent or temporary. That is what we have done. We wanted to present it actually in this forum. So I just want to give some theoretical, mostly it is a theoretical work I just want to give, and also I will also explain the way forward what we are trying to proceed in this. So this is some of the this pandemic has impacted irrespective of the culture, like gender, culture, occupation, and age, and it has passed our movement of our business, movement of the consumers as well as of the business, and it has slowed down some of the global economies. It has slowed down a little bit, and also, if you see, there was some research as done in the previous pandemic. Whatever happened is, it has it has a blessing in disguise, where it created a new avenue for us to for the businesses to transform, that is to adapt to the new technologies, and also for the consumers to adapt to the existing situations. This is what it has happened in the previous pandemic, and this is so that's what we want to tell is a new gateway. It's a new opportunities for us, everybody, for the business as well as for the organizations. And it has changed the world, and it is not restricted to the human, but also to the social and economic crisis, and disconnected the supply chain. So if you see, the chip supply chain industry has been impacted most. We can see very well that automotive industry, due to chipset shortage, they are not able to come up with the more models very fast. And also, if you can also see there are a lot of mobile phones, right? These days, they are not able to come up with more models because there is a shortage in the chipset. So this is what the supply chain is there. So this is what one of the problems which we are facing in the pandemic. And also, so the several firms has to scale down the businesses. So because of this pandemic, the businesses have been down. So there was a need for the businesses to improve, to reach to their business, to meet the business objectives. So this is one. And it has impacted the producer-seller market. So due to this pandemic, there was a lot of restrictions on the movement of the people. So this, what we can see, due to this pandemic, we are able to move from offline to online for our shopping. The majorly we are more in Indian environment. We tend to more go and buy things. But this pandemic has given an opportunity to use the online medium, or through that is branded mobile apps for shopping, even for grocery shopping. Earlier we used only for electronics items, but this pandemic has moved for the grocery shopping also, even entertainment industry. If you see the OTT platform, earlier we used to go to the movie theaters and other things, but this OTT platform has made us to watch movies in home at our conveniences. So this was a consumption pattern which has changed the consumption pattern of the consumers, and also it helped the organization. It is helping the organizations are building this mobile app to attract more consumers and to build the profit higher in a very short span of time. This is what our work is all about. And so the technology always has an increase in the productivity. Earlier, we used only for our IT for banking operations, and mostly it is
let me interrupt you. No? So we are now familiar with the background. Can you move to your specific study research model and the finding?
Yeah. So the research. So we wanted to understand their consumer purchase behavior. So we wanted to move from the democratic factors for effective marketing strategies. So this is what is there, sir. So our finding what was that is the key factors. What we found for the mobile app adaptation was the marketing factors, okay, which will increase the usage of the app. And second is the design factors. The app design can influence the customers to use the app. And third thing is that the location and the profile of the users also can enable the consumers to adapt to the mobile app. This is what we wanted to, the factors which we identified in our study. So mostly our study is mostly it is more of secondary data which we have done, and also we have also done some questionnaires actually. So I'm not able to present the empirical data here actually, but it is still the work is in progress. So what we have done is we have done a survey questionnaire, and we have prepared it and distributed to the users of the mobile app, and we are collected. So what we have done is what we have done is the consumer behavioral activities were impacted on the social habits such as marriage, workplace interaction, and there was a restrictions through the policy imposed by this was a consumer behavior activities which has impacted. And the behavioral factors which we want to say is are the internal influence factors like perception, knowledge, attitude, personality, motivation, and the external factors are basically the culture and the group. So these are the behavioral factors which we thought have an impact when we did our survey perspective. And the conclusion is that so the COVID production has brought a self-discipline in the behavior of the consumers, okay, and so understanding of the consumer will really help the organizations to be competitive, and also we want to, from our findings, which if I'm not able to project the empirical data, but from the high level, we want to say that the consumers' old habits will be little bit modified. So to adapt to this mobile app, that's what we wanted to tell, sir, actually. So thank you for giving me opportunity, sir, because this is my first presentation. So that's what I am not able to, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, sir.
Thank you, Nagapan. So, yeah, very important topic, especially in latest context, right? So now a lot of papers are focusing on COVID-related consumer behavior, right? So my one question is like, is there anything which is different from literature, because you must have done literature review? So
yes, sir.
Any factors of this mobile adoption which is different in terms of like normal mobile app adoption and mobile app consumer behavior during this COVID, or is it the same factors but the intensity is just changing?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, first, I will tell you, sir, most of the research papers are with respect to mobile app or restricted to particular industry, like a banking industry or Uber, like this. So, in our work, what is the difference we are trying to bring is we want to bring an umbrella. Like I said, like a super app. Like if you see in India, you can see a lot of news are coming up, a super app, but nobody has developed it actually in India, but still companies are slowly working towards it. If you see, as I said, an example, Amazon in US has already done it. Like the thing is, it is like they wanted to be, if you see in Amazon, we know it is only as a publisher, but it is not only a publisher of books. They are also coming up with the OTT platform. They are also merging with the banking platform. They are also controlling the supply chain. So the big picture is Amazon doesn't have anything actually. It doesn't have run any industry. But what is controlling the whole thing. What is supply chain? Basically, is controlling the whole supply chain. He's having a book. He's even publishing books for us. Okay, and he's also coming up with a pay app. So he's coming. So they are having a big picture of this. This is what in the literature till now branded mobile app. Nobody has done work in industry that is a need. But in the research, it is only pockets are done. Only specific to industry is done. I wanted to, our work is mostly on the bigger picture. So that is what I wanted to say this aspect actually.
Okay.
So
What do you mean by branded mobile app?
the branded mobile app means if you see like if you see example like earlier Flipkart earlier book branded mobile app, how do he'll be like a publisher, like book. Suppose if you want to buy a book, sir, what happened? You go to a particular publisher, right? So Amazon is like a digital platform where he has a collection of the books. He will control he will talk with the book publisher, and he will tell when the book has to be published, what are the books has to be published, like this. Suppose if you see marketing book, like Philip Cotter, earlier what we do is we go to a particular shop and buy it. But in this what is the industry is moving towards a kind of, they are developing an app. It's a mixture of industries like books, movies, then supply chain is basically not only the mobile phone. He's controlling the whole components in the supply chain, laptops, mobile phones, everything.
So you basically mean like a super app ecosystem,
Like
where
a super app. The branded mobile app is like a super app. So in India
apps
also,
under one brand. That is what
yes,
you're saying.
it is like a super app. It contains all the industries. Earlier, if you see in the offline mode, if I work in only retail industry like DMart develops one app. Like so, they're developing one particular app. But in the case of super app, it's not only retail. It is not only a book. It's not only a OTT platform. He like a movie theater. So okay, they will only tie with the movie public production house, and they will publish the OTT platform. Earlier, if you see, sir, theaters. Theaters, you go, we have to first movie you watch, you go in the theaters only, and after 1 month only it will come into the OTT platform. Nowadays people are launching in the OTT platform only, and they will also tie up, sir.
Yeah, got it.
Yes, sir. So it is
I
like
think there is a good scope of research in terms of because earlier I think there's a lot of research done in terms of consumer behavior on mobile apps.
yes,
But
sir.
on this kind of super apps, or what you're calling as
Yes, sir.
branded apps, so not much has been done in that area.
Yes,
So
sir.
definitely a lot of scope. So all
Yes,
the
sir.
best for your study to take it forward.
Thank you, sir. Sorry for okay, I'm first time, so that's what I'm.
No, not a problem. Good.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam, for giving me opportunity. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
thank you,
listening.
Raghupan. Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we will move towards our last study for this session by Venisha and Dr. Ambigai, is investigating learner engagement in online learning platform through technology adoption, an application of unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, which is the UTAUT. So I guess after platforms like healthcare and then gig economy and marketing app platforms, and now we are moving towards online learning. So a lot of variety of platforms, digital platforms we have covered. So, okay, so the presentation can start.
Sir, can I start my presentation?
Yes.
Am I audible, sir? Yes. Thank you very much, sir, for confirming. A warm greetings to one and all. I'm Vanisha Jennifer de Mello, research scholar at Department of Commerce, Manipal Academy of Higher Education. Would take this opportunity to present on the topic investigating learner engagement in online learning platform through technology application of unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, UTAUT. This is the agenda of my presentation. Information and communication technology, computers and internet penetration have advanced social progress and economic growth and have become an indivisible unit of all sectors and education in particular. The process of imparting education has evidenced remarkable transformation, mainly due to digital growth. Global changes in education are compelling education system adapted to the changes, and the e-learning market is expected to grow. And the statistical figures have demonstrated that the e-learning market is expected to grow up to 326 billions in the year 2025, and number of Indian users of online learning platform are going to increase to 9.6 million. The growth of e-learning courses is mainly justified due to the associative benefit such as accessibility, flexibility, pandemic outbreak, low cost, and surge in internet and smartphone users. Despite the phenomenal growth of e-learning market, retention of the learner and engagement continue to be the major issue of concern for academic administrators and instructors. Additionally, prior studies have reported that despite the greater flexibility that online learning ensures, learners report lower engagement in the online learning platform. Prior studies have also posited that lower engagement level in online learning platform is attributed to numerous factors such as low self-efficacy levels, lack of infrastructure facilities, low peer influence, which result in lack of intention to accept e-learning, which causes low engagement level. The global outbreak of pandemic COVID-19 has seriously impacted and compelled the academic institution to consider online learning as a major platform for engaging and imparting education. A technology-enabled environment is expected to be eminent for teaching and learning in the future. Active engagement of the learner predicts the quality of the online learning platform, but however, creating an environment that engages the students and enables high involvement level and commitment during learning phase is still a challenge. Furthermore, earlier studies also argue that studies argue that the factors influencing learner engagement in online learning are still unclear, and researchers demand further research to examine the same. Besides, the review of prior study indicate that there is no well-established model applied to assess learner engagement empirically and specifically regarding learners' perception in the technologically mediated environment. So given the challenging issue of lower retention and engagement in the online learning platform, the current study aims to answer the following research questions. That is, what are the factors influencing learner engagement in online learning? Does behavioral intention mediate the relationship between performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, learner self-efficacy, and facilitating conditions and learner engagement behavior? And the objectives of the study are to examine the key predictors of learner engagement in online learning by utilizing unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, and to test the mediating effect of behavior intention between the study antecedents and the learner engagement. The study was conducted within the embedded framework of quantitative research, and an online questionnaire-based survey method was adopted to collect the data. Therefore, post-positivism philosophy deems to be appropriate from the ontological point of view. And the data was collected as a single point of time. That's why the study is cross-sectional in nature. Respondents were invited through email, and a total of 336 respondents' data was collected from graduate and undergraduate students having prior experience of using online learning platform. The questionnaire comprised of two factors, that is section A comprised of demographic factors, and the section B comprised of on the information relating to the construct of the proposed model. And the measurement items, all the measurement scales for the study were adopted from the prior literature that was validated, and all the construct were measured using multiple items of 7-point Likert scale, which was ranging between strongly disagree and strongly agree. The data which was collected was analyzed using partial least square method, like analyzed using PLS software, and partial least square regression is widely accepted in structure equation modeling method to validate the data, and partial regression is commonly used in social science research to validate the theory at the initial stages of development as well as to validate the existing theory. A total of 336 respondents' data was collected, out of which 42% comprised of male and 58% were female. And most of the learners had a learning experience of using online platform, which ranged between a year and up to 6 years. And majority of the learners were from MCOM background, which was followed by BBM, BCom, and MBA specialization. So in order to test the model, the two stage of analysis was done, where first the measurement model was done, and post that the structure equation modeling was analyzed. So measurement model was mainly evaluated by using convergent validity and discriminant validity. Cronbach alpha, composite reliability, average variance extracted, Fronel and Lacker criteria were some of the reliability tools which were used to examine the validity and reliability. Post all the values, Cronbach alpha, composite reliability, and AV value, as well as Fronel and Lacker criteria met the threshold limit. And once after validity and reliability was established, the hypotheses were tested, and the results of the hypothesis testing predict that performance expectancy, effort expectancy, facilitating conditions, and learner self-efficacy significantly influence behavior intention. Performance expectancy, learner self-efficacy, facilitating conditions, and behavior intention significantly influenced the learner engagement. Thus, based upon the empirical evidence, it can be inferred that positive intention towards adoption of technology results in effective learner engagement. In terms of variance explained, the research model accounted for 46.8% variance in learner engagement and 51.9% variance in behavior intention. Therefore, the constructs reflect moderate predictability. The table which is shown in the current slide represents the summary of the indirect effect which was examined between performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, facilitating conditions, self-efficacy, behavior intention, and learner engagement. The study results revealed that there was a full mediating effect of behavior intention in relationship between performance expectancy, effort expectancy, facilitating conditions, and self-efficacy, as well as behavior intention, partially mediated the relationship between the social influence and behavior and learner engagement. The theoretical implications of the study are, from a theoretical standpoint, the results of the present study add support to the scholarly literature on the learner engagement in online courses by validating a model encompassing technology factors, which is borrowed from Unified Theory of Acceptance and Use of Technology model, to which a learner self-efficacy was added as a new variable. So inclusion of learner self-efficacy in the model supported the relationship between the intention and learner engagement. The extended model of current study addressed the literature gap by studying learner engagement as an outcome variable, which supported 46.8% variance in the research model, suggesting that the study variables significantly improve the prediction ability of the proposed model and are essential for enhancing the learner engagement in the online learning platform. The research extends the extant literature by investigating intention as a mediator in online learning context. The study research finding empirically confirmed behavior intention fully mediated the relationship between performance expectancy, effort expectancy, facilitating condition, and learner self-efficacy, and partially mediated the relationship between the social influence and learner engagement. The managerial implications of the study are, the study will suggest the organization to consider the model in analyzing employee learning and development through online learning platform, as majority of the corporate organizations are adopting e-learning systems in order to train their employees so that the employees will serve the needs of the customers efficiently. Understanding the level of engagement would enable better understanding of learners' expectation. The finding of studies direct increasing awareness among the learners about the usefulness and benefits of e-learning for popularity and usability that is mainly achieved through arranging workshops and training. Learners' attitude, self-efficacy, experience with the online learning platform can be enhanced by increasing the perception of usefulness and satisfaction. It is recommended that decision makers, practitioners, policymakers should contemplate all these factors for formulating strategies for enriching the engagement levels in the online learning platform. The limitations and scope of the study are the study's questionnaire was not wholly free of subjectivity, as the questionnaire was released at a single point of time, since the study is cross-sectional in nature. So future studies can be conducted by using an longitudinal approach in order to check the transformation of change in the intention and engagement level of the online learners. The study was limited to the users of online learning platform. As such, the perception of non-users were not considered. Moderating effect of age, experience, gender, and voluntariness may impact the engagement level of which may account for good points for future research. Future studies can examine the underlying mechanisms for course quality, instructor quality, course difficulty level, and system-related factors on the learner engagement. The study was limited to the students of a particular geographical location. So further studies may collect from diverse geographical locations and enhance the generalizability of the study. So to conclude, online learning platform is an innovative education model posing a serious challenge when compared to that of traditional mode of learning. Success of online learning mainly depends upon overcoming the retention and lower engagement problem. So e-learning, to conclude, e-learning is undoubtedly a source of competitive advantage. However, there is still a long way to go in research direction, and it warrants further research to expand the existing knowledge. Thank you one and all for your attention and interest.
Thank you, Venisha. Very good presentation, very smooth and to the point and on time. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So anyone has any questions from the audience? I guess there was some unmuting issue happening in the earlier presentations, but everybody has unmute permissions now, so you can ask questions.
Venisha, one question I have. So
Yes.
when you think of contribution, right, there are two types of contributions, theory and practice.
Yes.
So theory, you're saying you have identified these variables or whatever.
Yes.
So will there be a set of guidelines or some things which say that under these contexts, online learning, these are the, these are some of the tools or these are some of the things that you should do online?
Ma'am, basically,
something that you want to come up with?
Ma'am, basically, are you speaking from the context of the context or on the general study background?
From your study background.
From my study, ma'am, basically online learning. Just now I happened to read one article. When they're trying to predict the future of online learning, it is going to become a major source for engaging the students. And as per as the recent UGC guidelines of 2016, they are making e-learning courses very mandatory to the institution. So from this study, so basically we know that there is a problem of lower engagement as well as the retention level of the online learners is very low. So from my study, I can one practical implication will be for the policy makers, because under the Digital India program, so it has strategized 9 key programs. So under that, the government is trying to invest a lot of amount for providing education through this digital platform. So from my study, it will be useful for policy makers as well as the online marketers who are into this business, because most of the due to pandemic, there are many organizations which are coming up with the e-learning platform. So it will be useful for e-learning marketers who are marketing their course. Apart from that, it will be useful for the policy makers, and also it will be useful for educational institution as they are coming with the platforms to engage the student. And in future, the blended learning mode will become a common method for engaging the students.
Thank you. Just a suggestion probably would be that you can look at under some contexts, under some, given some conditions,
Okay.
and given the age group or whatever, you can come up with a guidelines or some framework which suggests what works best to engage. Basically, the DV remains the same, the engagement and active participation, but something probably can come out from your study. I'm sure it will be very helpful. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Basically, are you trying to tell that the different population, like working women or something like that?
Yeah, it can be age-wise, it can be gender. You're saying all those are mattering, right, from your study?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable suggestion.
Thank you. All the best.
So, Venisha, one question regarding the choice of UTAUT, right? So, there are many multiple adoption frameworks, right, that you can use
Yes, yes,
theories.
yes.
So why this particular lens? And I remember seeing that used in other papers in this field, right, in terms of online learning. So how is this different from those other studies?
Uh, so one thing, UTAUT model is framed by integrating 8 different theories. So this was a major reason which made me to adopt UTAUT theory. And one more thing, the UTAUT model has explained 70% of variance in predicting the actual behavior. And the particular model which I have predicted, it is a portion of my PhD study, a part of my PhD study which I have done. And one more thing, I have made an addition of a new variable which is called as learner self-efficacy. Though I'm studying it from the e-learning context, though there are prior studies, but the difference is I have added learner self-efficacy as an independent variable. Apart from that, most of the studies have studied only intention or they have studied actual usage behavior, but I have studied engagement as an outcome variable which was not studied priorly in the literature, that too in the e-learning context.
Okay. So that's good. One thing is that usually when in journals, usually they look at like how your not just how you applied a theory, right, but also how you contributed to enriching the theory, right.
Yes,
So that will be one point to look at. So if you can find like one thing you're saying is self-efficacy, learner efficacy, and adding engagement part of it. So
yes,
similarly, if there are anything else, right, which maybe some kind of moderating or mediating other sort of variables which are working
yes,
in that and additional insights. So things like that, which would also sort of enrich the UTAUT model itself, right?
yes,
Because in how it
yes.
is different context, how the model itself can vary a little bit and can be customized.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. To add on, most of the studies they have studied behavior intention as an outcome variable, but I have tried studying intention as a mediating variable, which was not done in the prior literature. So this is one more theoretical contribution of my study.
Okay. Great. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Forward. I
Yes.
really enjoyed it. So thank you, Vanisha, and thank you all the presenters today.
Thank you.
So all good presentations, and really enjoyed the variety of papers in digital platforms. So really wonderful to see, and I hope that you all learn from each other as well, and you can continue to do so over next 2 days. So we have a lot of different presentations lined up, right? So and right now we are starting that plenary session on a panel discussion on intelligent products and the need for security, privacy, ethics, governance, risk, and compliance management, right? And there are many more such panel discussions lined up. So it'll be great learning experience for you all, right? And you can ask also questions and sort of. So it's a very rare to get so many practitioners and academicians in one place. So it's good if you can learn from practice what's going on there as well. So good. So thank you all, and as the academic track chair and the chairperson of CSITM, so I would like to thank you all for your participation in this, right? And I hope you enjoy your next today and tomorrow. So thank you so much.
you.